today's board, not pretty, but already got down a ton of action for multiple groups. Haven't released any premiums yet. Again, staying selective with college basketball, been averaging about 2.4 bets per day, and it's been doing good for us. So if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. But here's what I can share with you already that definitely is sharp. 882 Virginia plus the 15 against Duke, and that game over 130.5. But here's what I saw at 133. There's a lot of resistance because when it hit 133, 33.5, if you look at your screen now, it's probably at 132, 131.5. So what you got to be careful of when it's a small board like this, and especially when they're marquee standalone TV games, the best way to make money, if you're able to manipulate the market, is get out ahead of what the public's doing. And we already know they're going to bet the over in Duke, Virginia. We already know they're going to bet Arizona and Baylor over. And that's exactly what these groups did overnight. They took the over 151.5 at Arizona, Baylor. They took the over, like I said, 130.5 in Duke, Virginia. But they also took Virginia plus the 15, and then Utah minus 1.5, and then again today at -2. Betting syndicates versus the books. They know the betting public's going to be betting Duke. They're going to be betting Arizona game. Not too many are going to be betting Bethune-Cookman. But these guys do, and that's what they did. They take Bethune-Cookman -1. That's 306.510. They took 306.525. Stephen F. Austin -3, -3.5. 306.528. NC Central -6.5, -7, and 532 Texas A&M CC -7.5, -8. Also have two totals for you. 306.503 over 160.5 Alabama A&M, Arkansas Pine Bluff, and then finally 306.524 under 151 in Maryland Eastern Shore and Howard.
I like the over 5.5 in the USA and Sweden matchup. It's a different goalie for USA tonight. It's a meaningless game for them. I'm sure you're going to be fired up playing in front of their home crowd. Charlie McAvoy, who's from or plays in Boston, he will not play due to rest, Prez. Sweden has scored 3 goals in both their games so far. They'll pull the goalie early if they have to. The 5.5 juiced over is -130. I think it's certainly worth a wager. I think at the very least we see goals on both sides, but I definitely expect Sweden to contribute to this over.
So let's talk about the ACC. Always has been a power conference since I was a child in the 80s. The ACC, the Big East, growing up in the D.C. area were my conferences of choice. But boy, has the ACC fallen in recent years. And, the writing's been on the wall. The last couple seasons, it's been Duke, North Carolina, and kind of Virginia as the only 3 legitimate teams. And then, of course, a week before the season began in October, Tony Bennett steps down for UVA. Very unsudden. I think one of the reasons he's waited till the last moment is because he wanted his assistant to get the job, which he did. But now there's a coaching committee being formed. Not sure they're going to keep him. And Virginia, not a good team. They're barely top 100 in the net ratings this year. In fact, I do my top 25 college basketball video every Saturday here on the channel. Click subscribe, click that bell for an instant alert. And about a week ago, Duke was the only top 25 team in the entire rankings until Clemson upset them and made some noise. So there really isn't much other than Duke. Duke is a really good team, though. They beat Auburn this season. In fact, their only losses came to Kansas, Kentucky, and then that Clemson loss. They're now 14-1 in the conference. But you're laying a premium when you're playing Duke, and that's why it's 14.5 in this game. Virginia did not play well this season. They started the conference season 1-6 straight up, but they have quietly won 3 in a row and 5 of their last 7 in conference play. And I think they actually could maybe hang within the big number here in this game. Duke doesn't have a lot going on. They're coming off a blowout win of Stanford. They've got a non-conference Big Ten matchup against Illinois on deck next Saturday, so they have the entire week off. So it should be a focused spot. But the main reason I think Virginia can hang is, once again, even without Tony Bennett, they're one of the slowest teams in the country. 364 Division I teams. They are the 3rd slowest team in the nation. And Duke no longer plays fast like they did under Coach K. In fact, Duke ranks 279 in tempo. So this should be a slow down, low scoring game. And whenever it's a low scoring game, it gives a 14.5 point underdog a better chance of keeping it close. Also think that probably favors the under as well. Definitely feel like Virginia and the under would be somewhat correlated in this game tonight at 7 Eastern on ESPN. Or actually, I'm sorry, 8 o'clock Eastern. Because there's so few games, this one's at 8 Eastern tonight on ESPN. It's a tough call because normally quality teams at home in a focused spot like Baylor with revenge would definitely make my short list. But then as I dug more into this game tonight, kind of like the Arizona side, and there's a few reasons, and that's why the line is just 1.5 in this one. First of all, Baylor coming off the overtime win against West Virginia. they've only got 7 guys in the rotation right now. They're decimated by injuries. They only have 7 guys really playing. 5 of those guys played the majority of the game. They have a couple guys that played more than 41 minutes on Saturday in that overtime win. Quick turnaround now here with just 1 day of rest. They do remain at home, which helps a little bit. But as you mentioned, Prez, Arizona coming off back-to-back losses against Kansas State and a very good Houston team. They were combined 7 for 45 from three-point range in that loss. Their most recent loss before that against Texas Tech a month ago, they were 3 for 18. The game right before that, they beat Baylor by 11 back in January, and they were 7 for 14 from three-point range. So really it's going to come down to if Arizona hits their threes or not. These are 2 teams that aren't great shooting teams overall. Arizona does like up-tempo. Baylor plays very slow. Normally, home team with revenge playing slow would make my cut. I just think Arizona's a better squad. I just feel like Baylor could be a little fatigued. Safest play in this one actually might be to focus on the total. It's all the way up to 152.5. I do think tired legs could hurt the Baylor offense a little bit, and they're definitely not going to want to run. So I do think they're able to dictate tempo more, slow the game down. If you're going to play this one at 10 Eastern tonight, let's stay away from the side. Let's look at the total, go under 152.5.
Steve Merrill, everybody, under 152.5 in the Baylor-Arizona game. Steve, come real quick, free play for you guys. I was killing it on these free plays last week. Today we're going with Northern Iowa on the money line. They're playing Murray State, and this line just makes absolutely 0 sense to me. Northern Iowa is the better team. This number should be a lot higher than it is. I handicapped this game at Northern Iowa -4. This game was scheduled for yesterday, but there was a power outage on the Murray State campus. And look, here's the bottom line, guys. Northern Iowa sits in second place in the Mo Valley. Murray State, they're barely a 500 team this season. Murray State, they were a small favorite yesterday. Now Northern Iowa is a slightly small favorite, like -1. Don't overthink this play. Take Northern Iowa on the money line. Let's continue cashing. And guys, make sure to bet both my college basketball tonight.
This is a lopsided matchup. Bayern Munich, they beat Celtic by 2-1 in the first leg in Scotland. They're now -650 favorites at home. The draw is at +750. Celtic are +1400 underdogs, and that tells you a lot about this, how this match is going to go. The Asian spread is set at 2.5 goals. And the Asian total is set at 3.75 goals. Now, Bayern, they can drop 3, 4, 5 goals against anyone. And it's true that they don't even need a win here. Having won the first leg on the road, even a draw here gets them through. But they are not the team to play for a draw at home against a team from Scotland, an inferior side. They're going to go all in this match because, you know, they have been struggling a little bit to get confident results. They're coming off a goalless draw against Leverkusen on Saturday, which was actually a huge title derby in the Bundesliga, but they didn't even need to win. That draw kept them 8 points ahead of Leverkusen. But you know, a couple of results in the last 5 were not so confident. So they really need a big confidence boost ahead of the final part of the season. And Celtic look like the perfect victim. Now, Celtic, they've actually never won on German soil, and this is these statistics where certain teams, they are really bad in certain countries, they count a lot. And in fact, Celtic, they actually played one match in Germany in the Champions League this season, and they were thrashed 7-1 by Dortmund, who, by the way, are sitting 11th in the Bundesliga. Now they're playing the Bundesliga league leaders. So Celtic, their last 3 visits on German soil ended pretty badly. They lost by 3-1, 3-2, and 7-1. So this Celtic side, don't write them off all that easily because they can be tricky, although they're much better at home than they are on the road. On the road, they tend to be bad. But at this point, they're doing well in their domestic league. They're going to throw like a Hail Mary in this match. They need to win by exactly 1 goal to at least send this match to extra time, or win by 2 goals to eliminate Bayern. I don't think this is happening, but I do think that they'll at least put up a fight. Maybe they score here, maybe they don't, but Bayern are more than capable of scoring 4, 5, 6 goals on their own. So Same game parlay with Bayern to win and over 3.5 goals is at minus 118. It's a solid way to bet on this. And you know what? I'm going to throw in another small, an extra play there, a prop. It's not widely available, but it was actually my first selection for this match, and it's a penalty kick to be awarded. Now, there is a good referee for penalty kicks with 13 and 21 matches this season, and both Bayern and Celtic, they're getting and conceding quite a few penalty kicks. In fact, Bayern Munich have 13 penalty kicks for and 3 penalty kicks against them this season. And Celtic have 8 penalty kicks for and 5 against them. So the main bet here is Bayern Munich to win and over 3.5 goals minus 118. And also throw some beer money on the penalty kick to be awarded at plus 150. Okay, first one, Dortmund versus Sporting. Dortmund, they beat Sporting by 3-0 in what was a pretty big upset, I should say, in the first leg in Portugal. So Sporting, they're generally one of the top 3 teams in the Portuguese league by a lot. They were doing really well for the better part of this season, but their coach suddenly decided to leave them, and he went to Manchester United. So since then, it's been a weird transitional period for Sporting, who are struggling to piece 2 wins together. They're struggling to keep clean sheets. Their offense is broken, so all things are going wrong for them. Now, Dortmund, as I said, they won the first leg on the road by 3-0. Now they're playing at home. So it's all Sporting's game now, in the sense that Sporting, if they want to qualify to the next round, they need to win in Germany by 3 goals in order to send this match to extra time, or win by 4 goals and steal the qualification from Dortmund, which I really don't think is going to happen. Dortmund are minus 105 favorites at home. The draw is at plus 275. Sporting are plus 270 underdogs on the road. Now, Sporting, there is a logic that says that whenever a team wins the first leg by a lot, you bet the other team to get something from the second leg. Now, in this case, Sporting double chance is at minus 110, which is an interesting way to bet on this. But if Sporting even want to have a fighting chance, they need to score at least a couple of goals. So Sporting to score twice is at plus 186. It's a good number, but that's not where I'm going. Right. I'm going with a player prop here. I'm going with Sporting's Swedish bomber, Victor Gyökeres. The guy is a maniac. He isn't scoring a lot in his last 5 because he's nursing an injury and he only played like 20-30 minutes in each match. But before that, he had 34 goals in all competitions for Sporting this season. He was scoring in every other match, whether it is a home match, an away match, a domestic match, or a Champions League. The guy is a bona fide scorer, and now they need him to weigh in. He played 90 minutes on the weekend, which tells me that he's ready. He overcame his injury, and he's now going to start. And again, Sporting, they're a very talented team, but by far the most talented player in that squad is Gyökeres. And, if this match was played maybe 3 months ago, you would find Gyökeres to score any time at minus 110, minus 120, maybe even money. But now Gyökeres is at plus 170 to score any time. And again, this is a guy that has scored 34 goals in all competitions for Sporting this season. And Sporting really need him to weigh in on Wednesday. It's the early kickoff, 12:45 p.m. Eastern. So give me Victor Gyökeres to score any time at plus 170. Huge number there.